Good morning again, people. Well, it's still morning for me, and I'm sure on the West Coast it's early morning. They're having their first coffee. I hope you enjoyed last week's. This is kind of like a follow-up to last week's, where last week or the last time I was on, I was talking about there being something out there. As a technician, we look at charts, lines, numbers, values on a chart, and charts will tell you what the market wants to do, not necessarily what you want it to do. That's your choice. And I've learned over the years, as I've put on Twitter, today's technicals will write tomorrow's headlines. And when we were last together, I was talking about something, there could be something going on out there. I wanted to show the Russell chart, Russell 2000. And I started checking it when a lot of people started asking me about it. Now, it's not one that I go to every single day or every single week. I try and answer questions from students of mine, clients of mine, and anybody else who follows me here on StockCharts TV, power charting, or even Twitter. I thought the last time we did a session, I started noticing I was getting more and more phone calls, emails, text messages, Skype messages, WhatsApp calls. So I knew the level of anxiety was out there. And I happened to pull up the Russell. Now, I use a term called the headbutt when it comes to RSI. And maybe I should get a pointer here. This was where I was thinking things started to get a little something like there's something out there that's going to affect markets. Well, we've got enough out there to affect us with everything that's going on in the world outside of the COVID. China, now Afghanistan, interest rates, everything. And that normally only comes together when there's major or intermediate turning points coming in a lot of markets and a lot of anxiety and confusion on the part of traders. So in this Russell, which a lot of people don't follow because they're going to the S&P or the Dow or the NASDAQ, but this is a clean divergence. Where's my arrow? Come on, arrow. Doesn't want to play today. Okay, there we go. This peak, which was June 8th, this peak, these peaks in the Russell with the RSI never got above 60 for those of you who know about my range rules. This was a head bump into the 9, saying that this was probably going to follow through. The headbutt is where the RSI rallies back into a 9-period moving average or into the 45 and reverses. But this looks like it was a previous bottom becoming a top. This was the low RSI point before that longer term divergence and should be resistance going forward, which it was. I'm showing the Russell because it looks like range shifts are developing, and I think we're going to take out 2100 and continue to go lower. This is going to be deeper, and I'm getting more and more confirmation, especially if you look at the bottom there. This is one of my charts that I take my CFG averages and my RSI averages. It's crossed to the downside. And I like using moving averages on indicator because they do smooth out the volatility. But when you can smooth out volatility and see the true underlying principle of what the trend is, then you're way ahead of the game. And realize that it's not just a short-term signal. Moving average divergences or positives and negatives tend to be more of what I call position type opportunities because it's going to last a while. Here's the chart on the Dow Jones on the daily. I want to look at the weekly first because things can happen over the weekend, as we all know in the crypto world. We've got divergences on weekly. We had a sell-off. We've come back in the last couple of weeks, and we've got another divergence. And then you look at the bottom, you see my CFG looks like it could be topping. The 2045 looks like it's in the process maybe of turning down, and that's on weekly. Okay. I'm going to have to scoot, cover the other ones. And on the daily, it looks like it's trying to turn down. So if we get a hard down close today, it's going to be further confirmation that we've got at least an intermediate high in place. One of the stocks I was asked about that's in that Russell is Caterpillar. And thank you very much, Rachel, for suggesting Caterpillar, because it's in the same setup longer term. Seems to have topped out. It's one of the big stocks in the Russell. There's our divergences. We had bearish divergences. We had everything with the moving averages starting to roll over. And the lowest point it had was back these lows in April with an RSI low, and then a lower low in the RSI in June. But I call what was previous resist or previous bottom resistance when it becomes the top. So bottoms become tops when you're in a downtrend. This is starting to look like it's a very long-term negative. And I know Caterpillar's a lot of people follow. I've got about 5 or 6 minutes, so I'm going to have to zoom through the others. But when I look at this Caterpillar, I say it's got a lot more to go on the downside. And when I talk about head bumps, the RSI bumps up into a declining moving average of RSI. We've seen it in the RSI here, where it's banging up against the 9, also in my CFG. And we've also noticed my 2045 combining my CFG moving averages with my RSI moving averages. It crossed to the downside. So this to me is just like a little bounce. I think we're starting to see some serious technical structures change. What else did I have here? Dow Jones, Russell, Caterpillar, oil. Let's get you the oil chart, because that was in a tight trading range, basically between 66 and 76. And it's now selling off. So that breakout, and the Dow has a lot of stocks that are oil producers or oil companies producing oil needed for products. Crude oil. There's weekly. Longer divergence breakdown. You can see down at the bottom, my CFG RSI combination is starting to break down and cross. Okay, let's go to daily. Same thing here. We've had what I call the head bumps. So that's why I said today is, did these markets just top? Stock related. We've taken out the previous lows from the last month. We made lower highs, lower lows. And when I spoke to Rachel, I said, that's technical analysis 101. Drawing trend lines, lower highs, lower lows, higher highs, higher lows, draw your trend lines. But I teach people how to draw your trend lines based on RSI points. And if this was support with a bounce at around 61, and this was 66, this should have gone with one of my positive reversals, $5 above 73.5, taken out to 76, which I thought it was going to do, go to 80. I still think it's possible, but for the near term and the effect on trading, I think this thing is turned for a while and may go lower because it failed to achieve a positive reversal. You had a head bump here with the RSI. You had what I call the head bump here, July 30th. And this 66 to 67.5 is now going to serve, was support. It was a bottom, but it's been clearly taken out in the last 3 or 4 days. Moving averages have turned down. And my 2045 trend tool has turned down. Okay, one other, we take a quick look at the dollar. It looks strong now, but I'm watching it very, very closely. On a longer term basis, I think it'll go lower, but everybody's talking about it being at a new 9-month high. And 9 weeks or 9 months is one of the cycles I look at from top to top or from bottom to top. So I think we've got some interesting things happening. I'm still bullish on most of the commodities longer term. They've corrected. But when I said last time, there's something out there, it affected everything. Stocks, bonds, interest rates, currencies, gold, commodities. We live in some interesting times. And I think they're about to get more interesting and more volatile going forward. But if I can help you, I'm here. CardwellRSIEdge.com is the website. And my direct email, trader, TRADER 011 at MSN.com. I chose that 011 because I've got friends, clients, and students all over the world. And I figured I'd never forget that 011 international calling code. But with that, folks, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you being here. If I can help you, let me know. Have Skype, Andrew RSI. My clients and students chose that for me years ago. And take care, be safe.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.